Oh, hey, you guys. Hello, grade 6, 7, and 8ers. Welcome to this video of Catechism that we're going to have in a couple days. Today is Friday, and I think the majority of you did not have school today, so I hope that you've all slept in, and I'm very proud of you for doing that. Okay, so here's this video. What we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about we are going to talk about a word that you have heard a lot. You've heard very, very often. If you have been in church at all, you have heard of this word. Okay, so you ready? The word is sin. And we're going to talk about sin this week. So, what does that word mean? What does sin mean? My guess is when you think of the word sin, you think doing something bad. And you also have maybe heard the phrase, we are sinners. So maybe when you think of sin, you think of something that's inside of you, like who you are, who we are. So if you think those things, that's a very good start. But we're going to dive a little bit deeper. So we're going to start with the actual word sin, and the original Hebrew word in the Old Testament, sin. And we're going to look at a couple passages that may surprise you. So in the book of Judges, there's a battle story being told, and here's a couple verses. At once, the Benjamites mobilized 26,000 swordsmen from their towns, in addition to 700 able young men from those living in Gibeah. And among all these soldiers, there were 700 select troops who were left-handed, each of whom could sling a stone at a hair and not miss. Each of whom could sling a stone at a hair and not sin. The book of Proverbs, the book on wisdom. There's one verse that talks about, it says of one who moves too hurriedly and misses the way or gets lost. So you move too hurriedly and you can sin. So interesting, hey? So the word sin, we can gather to mean, is missing a mark or missing the way. Sin is missing the goal or the standard that God has set for us. Because I'm going to ask you a question. Are babies sinners? So there's a man, his name is Pelagius, and he did not think so. He was a monk. He did not think the babies were sinners, because how could they be? They didn't sin, right? They just cried and slept and pooped. So he made this argument. This is the general argument of Pelagius. Human nature is uncorrupted. The basic components, including the will, cannot be changed. The effect of the fall on humankind was only superficial. It set a bad example. We can will either good or evil, so therefore, if we ought to be good, we can be. So he believed that people could be free from sin. You just do it. And a lot of people really believed him until there was a man named Augustine, who you maybe have heard of. Augustine is a big name, and his name is very big when it comes to this whole thing, the doctrine of original sin. So if you ever talk about sin, you'll probably be talking about Augustine. So this doctrine says that we are born sinners. So yeah, we believe that babies are sinners. We believe too that this is not actually our normal state. Like our condition as sinners is abnormal. We are not how we ought to be. That's not how we were meant to be created for. Sin is in like our DNA. And so because we are born sinners, we cannot help but sin. So Pelagius, he would disagree, and he would say that God, he will not hold us up to this standard if we can't meet it. And we believe differently. God has a standard for us, and we cannot help but miss it. Pretty interesting, hey? That might raise some questions that we'll talk about on Sunday. human beings, we are inclined to evil. It's pretty hard to think of a baby as being like that, but I like the story I heard one time. It's by a pastor. His name is Matt Chandler. He was telling a story of like his daughter who was like 1 or 2 years old, and it was, I forgot the details, but basically she was little, and then someone like stole a remote control from her, or a toy from her or something, like another little kid. And then she just ran after that kid and just took the toy away and then just bit that kid right in the head. Just like took a whole like bite out. And there's this little kid, and you just like see them, and they're just like, if you've ever seen a kid, you know, they're just like, they're just nuts. They just are like so inclined. They're just like do whatever it takes to get whatever they want. And even as adults, you know, we have to admit, you know, like there's a lot of evil inclination in us. If we go to a hockey game, people cheer like crazy when there's fights. They even zoom in on cameras when there's like blood or something from a fight. We could also all admit that when there's sin, that we enjoy it. We have to admit that we enjoy sin, especially sometimes. So our situation is quite dire. What do we do, you guys? What do we need? We will talk more about this on Sunday. Hope you enjoy your weekend. I'll see you then. Goodbye.